Ginwashi rice paper here, which is a Japanese paper with embedded fibers in it, which will give texture and hold some of the color. To make a deckled edge or torn paper edge, it's very simple. It gives a decorative effect and perfect in a float frame. To make the deckled edge, you simply apply clean water to the line where you want the pages to separate, then apply the water with a brush. Leave the wet line on the paper for 1 to 2 minutes, then pull gently apart, and it will leave you with a deckled edge. Using a sheet of cardboard, fairly firm cardboard, and tape waxed paper onto it, covering all the edges. Tape the rice paper over the waxed paper. This will ensure that you'll have a dry surface to work on. Draw a puffin outline in pencil on the paper, ensuring you have every shape of shadow and color outlined. Cover your pencil lines with a waterproof ink pen. This will ensure that your drawing doesn't disappear as you add layers. These are Indonesian tjangs, which are used for pouring melted wax onto the paper surface and can form very fine lines. Tjangs come in a variety of different sizes depending on the width of the line that you want to use. You don't need to use a tjang. You can use an old scruffy synthetic brush that, remember, it will be destroyed in the wax, but it's great to apply wax onto the surface. Fill in the areas you want to remain white around the body and the face and perhaps around the beak. Continue to add wax around the face and the body and the beak. These are areas that will remain the same color as the paper. The wax I use is a mix of paraffin and beeswax. I dip the tjang into it to fill the cup. A brush can be dipped into this as well. Tip the cup to apply a thin line of wax to the paper. There will be errors and there's be splashes of wax, but that's a good thing. It takes a little practice to get used to a tjang and how to apply the wax and how to tip the cup, but a brush can be used just as easily if you don't have access to a tjang. The wax preserves the white of the paper, and this is how the final piece should look, where the paler areas are preserved. Ragged edges, either intentional or accidental, add to the texture of the feathers on the piece and the interest. Start adding color to the face and body of the puffin. Just use light washes of watercolor. It can leak outside the boundaries, but that's not a problem. The first layers of color should look similar to this, so you've got orange and yellows and a very dark blue, in this case an indigo blue, that make up the body. Too wet a wash can leak outside the boundary areas, but this is something that will be fixed later when more background color is added to the bird. Background color of a dark indigo blue is added to the background of the bird, and then the whole piece is waxed. When the background watercolor is completely dry, add wax to cover the entire painting surface. Gently crumple the wax surface to allow cracks to appear, then add a strongly pigmented dark paint to cover the entire surface. Sandwich the painting between layers of newsprint, and using an iron with a hot temperature, start blotting the wax from the piece. As you continue to iron the piece, more wax will be removed from it. Change the papers, add clean ones, and keep going till very little wax comes through. Keep replacing with clean papers till very little wax is shown when you continue to iron. When you finally pull back the newsprint, you'll reveal the finished painting without much wax left on it. There will always be some residual, but that's fine. The edges might be ragged and they will distort slightly, but that's fine because they can be trimmed later. Here you'll see details of the final piece and how the cracking has allowed the watercolor to sink through and form a kind of crazed surface. Mount your final piece on a backing board, put in a cellophane sleeve or frame, and enjoy. Thank you.